Over the last few weeks, we've been sharing with you step by step the best copy trading strategies and workflows, and the results have been nothing short of amazing. Our users are reporting back real gains even from their first copy trade, which is insane. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. Now, I love answering your questions. If you're a member of our Discord channel, then you'll know that I'm very active and we have a strong community and we are all trying to help each other out at all times. And one thing I've started to do is help people one-on-one as a coach, where they can send me wallets, ask me questions, let me know what struggles they are having, and I will record a custom video teaching them all the mistakes they are making and what I can see based on my experience. It's been very powerful for a lot of our users, and I thought that it would be powerful for all of you because I know what it's like to be starting in copy trading. There's so much information to take in. You see all these people making so much money. You only have a little money to start and then you go for it and it's just not happening. You're losing your money, you're losing your balance. You can't figure out why. You're confused, you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated. I get it, I've been there, we've all been there. It used to be that you used to have to commit 9 months to copy trading before you got any good at it. But as you've already seen, we are changing that, and I hope with these videos to change that even more for the people out there who are still struggling. So in this video, I speak one-on-one to a client. He asked me a very specific question and he tells me the struggles he's having. He found a great wallet, but for some reason he's still not able to make money with this wallet. All his money is tied up in trades. He's frustrated and he doesn't know what to do. So in this video, I'll share the real live coaching video response that I shared with him, which helped him get to the next level. And since I know that there are a lot of people who are stuck in a similar spot, I thought that this video would be great to post here on YouTube so you can watch it and get the same benefit and maybe get one step closer to becoming a profitable copy trader. So if you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, please smash a like on this video and comment below and let me know, because I'm happy to make more videos like this. People are asking me questions all the time and I'm usually just answering them. And then someone will ask me the same question 2 days later and I'll answer them. But if you guys like this type of content, then I will answer these kind of questions in videos and then share them here on YouTube. So I'm not only helping one person, but I'm helping thousands. So make sure to let me know. And without further ado, let's get into this week's live coaching session. Okay everyone, so I'm here in a conversation with one of our users who I'm helping out one-on-one, and they've sent me the wallet address. They've explained to me that they're having issues with this wallet. They feel like they should be profitable, but they're not making money. So basically what I've said to them is, yes, I know the wallet, been featured in a bunch of my videos. I think there's a lot of potential there. Tell me exactly what you did. What was your starting balance? What was your buy size? What was your strategy? Were you entering on a dip? If so, how big was the dip? And what ended up happening exactly, which made it unprofitable for you? The more info, the better. And then I can kind of have a picture of what went wrong. So I'm basically asking for more information on the experience so I can kind of dive deep into if there's any mistakes that I see that were made. So the user got back to me. They said, I first thought about copy trading him manually. When I found the wallet, I reviewed each of the traders. I reviewed each of his trades one by one. I checked what he bought, waited to see what happened on the chart, and if I saw sideways volume, I would enter. But my anxiety made me sell before him and take almost no profit. That's when I realized he holds tokens for days. After understanding that, I decided to copy him 100%. Forget the chart and the dip. If he bought, I bought. If he sold, I sold. All with Odinbot. I started with 3 Solana, 0.25 per trade. Problem came 5 days ago when he went nuts and bought 1,000 tokens. When I set a daily token stop, I cut purchases, and the buys I didn't make ended up being the most profitable of his whole week. Now I've limited to 1 trade per day just to see what happened. But I feel like I'm bleeding money every day with all those dead tokens, keeps holding and nothing happened. What I've noticed is that many times when he gets it wrong, he buys the dip of his tokens again to recover his initial investment. And since I've blocked multiple buys on the same token, that makes me sell at a loss too. The wallet is profitable, but I don't know how to make it profitable for me. Sounds familiar to a lot of people, I'm sure. Maybe more trades per day, but with less investment, like 0.1 SOL each. I don't know, I'm confused, and he keeps making money day after day. Okay, so that's the situation, and I'm sure a lot of you resonate with that situation. Finding a really good wallet who's making tons of money and then trying to copy trade them, and no matter what you do, you lose. Super frustrating and super common, but reading what I read, a lot of things stuck out to me. There are a lot of immediate red flags, and I know this wallet, so I know right away what went wrong. It was a combination of a lot of maybes, a lot of trying this just to see what would happen, and also not having enough money based on your buy size to last long enough with the trader to actually see results. And all of this stemmed from one root cause, which was improper analysis. So now I'm going to go through and I'm gonna break down step by step everything that went wrong and how you can avoid these mistakes and how to properly analyze a wallet so you have a strategy that will work. So there's no guessing, there's no seeing what happens. It's just straight up, this is gonna work and I'm gonna execute. So I think it's gonna be really helpful to a lot of you who are having trouble. It's gonna show you how to really analyze wallets, and you may resonate with a lot of the mistakes that I point out along the way. So I'm gonna jump back to my computer for the full analysis, for the full coaching call. So thank you and enjoy. So I want to address a lot of the things you said one by one. So first of all, you said first you were trading manually with him, entering if the coin was going sideways, which is not a bad strategy, but your anxiety made you sell before him and take almost no profit. Obviously, that's why we get into copy trading, to eliminate that emotional side of things, because I'm also the same way. I'm naturally prone to cheating tokens and getting nervous and selling. So I would say if you're going to trade with someone like this, you need to commit 100% and buy when they buy and sell when they sell, and try your best not to let your emotions get in the way, or else do it automatically so you're not looking at it. So that would be the first thing, is don't manually copy trade, because the human emotion will always get in the way, especially when you have no idea what's going on with these tokens. You're just buying them because someone else bought them and then selling them because of fear. So definitely start by avoiding that, which you did. So you decided to start copying him 100%. That is a good first step. However, I think a mistake that you made here was by seeing these stats, getting really excited and thinking that you could copy him 100% as you did. But as I'll show you now, that was probably not a good idea. So always check the unrealized tokens. And in this guy's case, as you know, he's got a shitload of unrealized tokens. I mean, it's actually insane. However, many of them are from months and months ago. He just literally never sells unless they win. So what you can do is you can come to the wallet analyzer. You can throw the wallet in, and that will tell you right away the true ROI over their last 200 transactions, in which case there were 100 tokens traded, 135 buys, 60 sells. And actually, even though his unrealized ROI, as I just showed you, 49 tokens, was quite terrible, resulting in an average of -50, he actually is still profitable, but only 8% profitable. And that's over the course of 200 trades. So in order to get these results, you would need to be able to trade with him 200 times in a row. And that leads us to the third mistake. So this wasn't really a mistake, because he actually has a positive ROI, but I have checked this wallet in the past and he has had a negative ROI in the past, actually. So that's fine. You started with 3 Solana. That's a good starting amount, actually. I think 0.25 would be a good starting amount as well for a regular trader who was buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling. However, for a trader like this, as you mentioned, what he does, this trader, as I've noticed, he will occasionally just go on a spurt where he just enters into like 50 trades on one day. Like maybe he's going through all these old tokens, he's looking for entries, and he's just got a day where he just buys and buys and buys, and then he holds. And then he waits, and then he's swing trading all of these tokens at the same time. And what can happen with that, as you've experienced, is you've only got enough money for 11, or really 12 trades, 11 including fees. So you've got only enough money for 11 trades for someone who holds for a long period of time, and who you really need 135 buys to achieve just an 8% ROI. So you're really kind of gambling. It's like a complete gamble. You're only able to buy 12 times out of this amount. And who knows, maybe he's going to buy 8 out of 12 tokens that do really good, but maybe he's going to buy 9 out of 12 tokens that do no good and that he holds forever. It's a complete gamble. He's winning on average over the last 135 buys, but that doesn't mean he's going to win on a micro level when it comes to 12 buys. So you really need to know your wallet and know the trading tendencies, because if you're trading someone like this is a different trader who is buying a lot as well, but he's opening and closing and opening and closing, and he's closing every position, and he doesn't move on to the next trade until he closes the trade before that. Then your buy size of 0.25 with 3 Solana would be fine, because win or lose, you're going to go up a little, and then you're going to get the money back, and then you're going to reinvest, and you're going to get your winnings, and then you're going to do that, repeat, and you're not really ever going to have all of your money stuck in a bunch of tokens. But when you're trading with someone like this, who is trading basically around 11 tokens per day, you only have enough money to buy 1 day's worth of tokens. and they are holding their tokens for sometimes 5 days, 7 days, and if not days, definitely hours. They're never really holding for less than an hour. So you could have started buying here, which you probably did. Now, because this was 2 days ago and you're messaging me now, probably bought somewhere around here, and like he just had like 6 bad trades in a row, and then all your money is stuck there. Then you're cooked, you know. If you see something like this, you really need to say, okay, they're trading 77 tokens in 7 days. I need really enough money to last them 7 days, because that's how long they hold. So I really need enough money to be able to buy 77 tokens, which is a lot. So if you were buying with 0.1, you'd need 7.7 Solana. So that was really the second mistake, or the third mistake, because now you're holding all these dead tokens and you don't have any money to buy new stuff, and you know, it sucks, I know, and you're feeling confused, and yeah, totally get it. So basically that's where I really think you went wrong on this one. Was you had a really good amount of money to start, but you didn't have enough to really trade with this trade. And that can happen to people, something that people don't mention much, because if someone is holding all of your money in their tokens and you run out of money, then you're going to be missing all of their trades, and you're basically just going to be buying a little microcosm of their successful average. So you're only buying 10% of what they've shown to be successful, and at that point you're really just gambling, you're not analyzing. And then the last mistake that I see is that you haven't really cracked the code on these wallets, and yet you're trading with them. So you were just kind of like gambling, you know. You didn't really have a strategy that you figured out, that you could say to yourself, okay, I've done the analysis, I've looked at the last 50 trades, I know how much money I'm going to need to hang with this guy, I know what I expect to happen, and then you execute. And if it doesn't happen, then you can say, okay, well, what changed? You know, something obviously happened, or I made a mistake in my analysis. But in this case, you really saw a guy who was profitable, looking really profitable, and you decided to try to trade with him manually. That didn't work out, and then you said, okay, I'm just going to copy him 100% and see how it goes. And that's gambling, you know, like it could work out, but most times it doesn't. And in this case, what you really should have done is really done a deep analysis. And it sounds like you looked at the charts, obviously, but you didn't do really the analysis that you needed to do to fully have a strategy that before trading would show positive results. So in this case, what I would do for this guy is I would open up his last 50 trades. I would get my pen and paper out, and I would just really analyze, okay, he entered this trade at 175, and then the possible dip was 60%. And then he entered this trade here, and there was no dip. And then from the dip, you know, the opportunity was to have 139% win. So you could do many things here. You could say, okay, I'm going to buy all of his tokens. And in your case, you decided to limit it to 1 trade per day to just see what happens. And like, you don't want to ever just see what happens, you know, that's gambling. And if you look at this one, you'd see if you limited it to 1 trade per day, you'd buy here and you wouldn't buy here. And then you would basically lose a little bit of money. You'd probably lose 10% on this trade, when in the reality, if you bought twice, your average would be here, you would make 37 on this trade. So you know, again, it's just like executing without actually having a strategy. And so in this case, you'd have to for this trade, you could write down like multiple things, like, okay, the first trade dipped 60%. You know, if I bought both tokens, the average would have gotten me like a 30% gain. You know, it's tough to analyze these guys because there's so much going on, but you need to come up with your own system that you can wrap your head around. And personally, I haven't been able to crack this wallet because it is like this, so tough. It is so confusing because doing so many things that could work, but I don't have a clear vision of what would definitely work yet. So I'm actually not even trading with this guy. So if you don't have a clear vision of the best strategy, then you shouldn't be trading with that trader. So here again, we have another buy here, another 55% dip, and then another one here, another 20% dip. So there's you know, we're getting a little bit of a picture here. So for example, let's say I'm doing an analysis on just these 2 trades. Like based on just these 2 trades, the best strategy would have to be to buy in with a 50% dip. So in this case, I would have bought here after his first token, and I'd be in profit right now. On this one, I would have bought here on this token. I would have skipped this buy because it never hit my dip, but I'd make 95% on this token. And then on all of these tokens that he's losing on, like 90%, 73, 80, 86%, you already bought 60%, 50% lower than him. So on his losing tokens, you're only losing like 30 to 20%. You can actually set a stop loss to like be 20 to 30%. So you're not losing that much money. But on these ones that he's winning that dip that much, you're making a lot of money. And even these ones that he's losing a little bit, you're in profit. So yeah, you're not going to get into all of his trades. There's going to be definitely some that you miss. There will probably be quite a few that don't dip 60% or 50%, but when you do get in, you have a really high probability of winning. And when you win, you're going to win big, and when you lose, you're going to lose small. You know, this is a strategy. I just created this strategy from 2 trades, which is not what you want to do. There's also the fact that you have to factor in that he holds all his losing tokens, so this might not even be a viable strategy anyway, because if you're not getting into enough tokens that he's winning with your 60% dip, but you're getting into all of his tokens because that he doesn't win because they literally go to 0, then you might end up getting into too many losing tokens and not buying into enough winning tokens. A 60% dip with a small stop loss might be fantastic with a trader who doesn't just hold his tokens to death, because if some dip 60% and go back up, you make a lot of money. If some dip 60% and go down, you lose 10 to 20% with a stop loss. But if most of his other losing trades went down 20 to 30% and he said, you know what, this token sucks, I'm out, then you wouldn't buy that anyway because it never hit your dip. So there's so many factors that need to be taken into consideration. I don't have the time in this video to analyze 50 trades, have it all in an Excel spreadsheet, and like really come up with like, okay, what's going to work. A 50% dip with, for example, a 25% stop loss would be the best strategy. I don't know. You know, I wouldn't know that until I analyzed at least 50 trades, had it all in a spreadsheet, and something stuck out to me and was like, yes, that would work. That's a strategy. I'm just giving that strategy from a microcosm of his 2 trades that I checked. That would be a great strategy for those 2 trades, but that doesn't mean it would be a great strategy overall, because maybe you would only catch a 50% dip on like 20% of his winning tokens, and then you would catch all of the losing tokens on the way down, and then in that case you wouldn't be profitable. So that's definitely a possibility, but there's just no way to know that until you look at all the trades. So we could look at a few more. Another challenging part about checking traders like this is that they're constantly moving their tokens all around because they're holding and selling slowly and things like this. So there could be tokens here in their top 50 that they have been holding for 17 days. And honestly, I wouldn't be checking that trade. I wouldn't be checking trades that they bought 21 days ago. I would be only checking trades that fell within their last 50 trades. And if their last 50 trades all happened in the last 7 days, then I would be only checking trades that happened in the last 7 days. Now, so that means that this one wouldn't, because obviously 1 buy, 1 sell, he bought it 13 days ago. This one, 2 buys, 2 sells, he bought the first buy 12 days ago. Wouldn't count that one because it's not in the last 50 trades. Same with this one. And that would skew the results because he could be holding tokens from 3 weeks ago that wouldn't be in his last 50 trades that are showing a good result, but you would have never bought those. So that's a little bit of a confusing thing with these guys who hold for long periods of time, but it's just something worth noting. But let's just check another one. So we checked Quest, we checked this one. They were both candidates for a 50% dip. Let's check this one, see what's going on here. So see, like this trade and this trade, not in his last 50 trades. July 31st, wouldn't be checking that. Only checking these because I never would have bought those. So let's see where he bought. I can tell you right now, this definitely dipped, because look how long he held that for, man. So I'm seeing a pattern. Like I said, not a guaranteed pattern. I'm gonna make this smaller so I can see everything. He held this for a really long time. So okay, let's just do this. We want to be on a 1 second chart. The low was 3.5 million. Go to where he bought it. He bought it 6.5. So yeah, I mean, you already know that shit is dipping at least 50%, or in this case 44%. So now the plot thickens, because if I had a 50% dip, then I wouldn't have gotten to this trade. So maybe now I'm going to set a 40% dip, because, you know, that's looking a little bit better. After 50 trades, you could see like, okay, we'd need a 20% dip. We'd get into like 60% of his winning trades, and then we'd have a stop loss on most of his losing trades of this amount. And running the numbers, that would have yielded us a really good ROI. Like, you need a strategy. You need to know what you're doing and not just seeing what happens. I never want you to use this phrase, let's just see what happens. I want always to be in control, to have a strategy. So, okay, we're looking at a 40% dip now. So let's look at one of his losing trades that's doing really bad and just see, okay, if we had a 40% dip, what would our life look like being in this trade? I'm just picking random tokens, but you need to go in order and try to get all of the tokens in the last 7 days or something like that and skip all the buys that didn't happen within that time period. So September 8th, September 5th, let's say we would have bought here. So 40% dip, we would have got in here at 152K. And then the second buy, we would have got in at 66K. So that's like 110K average purchase. We'd be down right now still 80%, which is really unusual because he's not down 80%. So we'd be down 60% right now and he is down 70%. So you just need to see if it's worth it. Whatever strategy you're picking, you need to see if it's worth it, And in that case, if you have a 20% stop loss or 25% stop loss, then okay, you buy at a 40% dip, you buy here and then you sell here, you lose 25%. Then you buy the next one, you buy here, you sell here, you lose 25%. Okay, you lost 25% on both of those, but on the winning ones, you are winning over 100%. So, this just all has to be calculated. This is not advice right now on what to do with this trader. I will say it a million times. I think you understand that. This is just advice based on 4 trades, and the advice just continues to change. The more trades you open, the more things can change. But I'm interested just to see one more. So we bought September 15th, sold September 15th. Let's look at one more, and then I leave you on your own to find the best strategy. So, okay, in this case, you bought 727,000 market cap, and it dipped 22%. So we could have gotten a 22% dip. So now our dip is even smaller, and now our stop loss probably gets a little bit bigger. And now we have to figure out if it's worth it. It goes up to 1.8 million. Probably sells here 1.7 million. If we got in at a 20% dip from 727,000 where he bought, if we got in at a 20% all the way at the bottom, we would have made 170%. So you see, it starts to become okay, well, it's okay to lose 40% on the losing trades. Let me increase my stop loss. Let me lower my dip. Let me get into more trades. Because the winning ones, I'm going to make 5 times as much as I'm going to lose, or 4 times as much as I'm going to lose. I've checked 4 trades, and right now, from checking those 4 trades, I have a 4-trade strategy of a 20% dip, copy his sell, use maybe a 40% stop loss, because if I buy at a 20% dip on the ones that dip 60%, I don't want to get stopped out on those. I want to allow them to come back up. So maybe I need an even bigger stop loss of 50%. So I can buy at a 20% dip, can go all the way down to 60%, down 40%. I don't hit my stop loss. Then I come back up for 150% win. On the other one, I'd only be down 20%. And then, so I'd win those 3. And then on the one that I lost, we'd buy twice. We'd hit our stop loss both times. So we'd lose 100%. So, that's what an analysis looks like. And it takes a long time. It's very heavy on the brain with a trader like this. It's much, much easier when a person just buys and sells and buys and sells and buys and sells. It's not nearly as complicated. It's very black and white. You either see something or you don't see something. It's very difficult with these traders. It's why I don't trade this guy, because I haven't had the free time to sit there for a full day and do a full analysis and be okay, what would work? Because it's really mentally taxing. But if you don't do that and you don't have a strategy, then don't trade that trader. Only trade a trader when you have done the analysis and you have a strategy that is so clear to you that I have to do this. It's I have to do this. It's not, let's just see what happens. No, it's I have to do this. And if you don't see it, even if you spend a whole day analyzing someone and you just can't see it, just let it go, And I know it may be tempting because you'll see trades that don't dip and you're okay, maybe I should just buy when he buys. Maybe you can buy when he buys and then buy a 20% dip. It gets even more complicated. Or maybe you just skip the ones that don't dip, even though they're going to win, because if something doesn't dip, it's a win. What I'm saying is it's very complex when you're analyzing traders like this. But if you want to trade with traders like this and you want to be successful, then you have to do it. And if that's too much, which it is for me at the moment because I'm so busy, I just stick to simpler traders who are buying once, selling once. They're not holding for 7 days. They're holding for an hour to 2 hours. And then once they're out of that token, then they're into a new token. It's much easier on the brain, much easier to form a strategy. and just seeing what happens. It can work, but in your case it didn't. And you also had the fact that you didn't have enough money to trade enough with this trader. With the amount of money that you had, you could really only be buying with 0.05 to be able to see out his trades and get into enough trades to see a positive ROI. And he only had an 8% ROI, including his unrealized trades. So you probably wouldn't have been profitable anyway. With him, you'd probably end up around break even. So the only real way that this could work is if you buy the dip. But in order to figure out what's the right strategy to have, you need to do the analysis. So it's a lot, I know, but that's the reality. That's what my recommendations are here. And I hope that it makes sense for anyone watching. This is what copy trading looks like when you really want to perform at a very high level. So hopefully for everyone watching, it was a good insight to what you would get if you worked with me one-on-one, if you did the mentoring program and you wanted to have video calls with me, if you wanted to ask me about traders and have me analyze them and teach you everything. And this is probably the most complicated case, so I don't want to be making you think that all copy trading is this insane, because like I said, most of it is just buy, sell, very easy. Let's do this. 20% stop loss, 40% take profit. We'll buy on a 2% dip and I think it's going to work, like that kind of thing. But this was just the scenario that just recently came up with one person who I'm working with, and I thought it would be very helpful for everyone to see. So if you're interested in learning more about mentoring or the one-on-one program or working with me in any way, then just head to our Discord and you can go to the one-on-one coaching channel and reach out to me. I'll connect with you there. We can get in touch in a DM. You can explain your story, what you need help with, and we'll see if it's a good fit. I'll be happy to help you learn, and the goal will be 100% to get you to making at least $100 a day copy trading at first, and then to scale that up to as much as you want and to have you making a full-time living copy trading. That's obviously the goal, and I will do my best. My team will do their best to serve you in that goal. So thanks for watching. If you found this type of content interesting, where I'm working with someone, they send me a question and I break it down and I answer it live like this, and then I share it for everyone to watch, please like this video, comment below, and let me know if you want to see more content like this. If you don't, then I won't do it. I just want to know what the community wants, and I think it's useful. So yeah, just definitely let me know. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.